Welcome to Mishna study. We're up to Masechet Demai, Perek Dalet, Mishna Dalet. Over here, right, and again, this is Mishna Gimel in most prints. Over here, we're going to speak about separating Maaser Sheni from Demai. So we always spoke about that we need to, there were certain things that we need to separate from Demai. The two things that we need to separate from Demai are Tumat Maaser, right, which is that 1%, the tenth of a tenth, and we spoke about Maaser Sheni. And over here, we're going to see a mahloket, whether or not a person needs to actually separate Maaser Sheni or only call it out. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, En Adam Sarich Likrot Shem al Maaser Ani Shel Demai. Achamim Omrim Koreh Shem ve'eno Sarich Le'afrish. Sorry, I lied, and the title is wrong also. So we're talking about separating Maaser Ani from Demai. Everyone agrees you have to separate Maaser Sheni, right? That's what we spoke about until now. Now, Maaser Sheni is on the first, second, fourth, and fifth years. On the third and sixth years, we have Maaser Ani, right? Our Mishnah is focused on Maaser Ani. What about Maaser Ani? So we're not separating, in general, we don't have to separate Maaser Ani. Like we said before, a person doesn't have to separate Maaser Ani on the third and the sixth year because we could tell, we tell the Ani, how do you know this wasn't separated, right? Maybe the Demai that I have over here proved to me that Maaser Ani wasn't given, and then I'll give it to you, right? We say, what's the term? We say, if you're taking from someone, you need to prove it. So now the question is, this Maaser Ani, do we need to separate it, or do we not have to separate it? So Rabbi Eliezer, he over here comes and says that a person does not. You don't have to call it out. You don't know nothing. Leave it. All we need to take is the Maaser Sheni. If it's the first, second, fourth, and fifth year, then you have to take your fruits, eat it in Jerusalem. But Maaser Ani, leave it. Not my problem. Don't separate it. Don't call a name for it. Hachamim, though, say, Koreh Shem ve'eno tzarich le'afrish. Hachamim also agree you don't have to separate Maaser Ani in the third and sixth year. But they do say you should call it a name, right? What does this mean? So he would take, after he separates Trumat Maaser, which is the tenth of the tenth, whatever's left, he says 10% of this is Maaser Ani. And that's enough to take care of the law. But he doesn't have to actually give it to the Ani because the Ani can't prove that it's his. So why do they make you do this? Really, so you keep a system, right? The same way we're taking Maaser Sheni in the first, second, fourth, and fifth year. So too, when it comes to Maaser Ani, we also want to take something in its place during that year. And Chachamim say you should call it a name even though you don't have to separate it. That really sums up this Mishnah. Halacha is like Chachamim, not like Rabbi Eliezer.